It's your boy Concert Viz 34, and today I'm just going to be sharing some thoughts after watching uh, a show I saw today, May 8th, which is Monday. Uh, the show is called Everyday Struggle. It appears on the Complex News YouTube page every Monday through Thursday. Usually drop around 11 a.m. Host of the shows, YouTube hip hop personality DJ Academics, and former, he calls himself a retired hip hop artist, Joe Budden. Now, as far as Wale, last week they talked about his album Shine that was released a couple weeks ago, flopping. So he ended up being on the show today, again, Monday, May 8th. And he showed his delusions of grandeur as far as not understanding and not being self-aware at why his album flopped. Historically, as far as the first week sales, his first album did 28,000, but that was his first album. He still wasn't as mainstream. He still needed more of a following and fan base at that time. But his second, third, and fourth albums did, all of them went over 100,000 the first week. And the fact that this dropped off to a quarter of his last album as far as sales and streaming numbers is unacceptable for someone in Wale's class, as far as he came up with J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Drake-ish. They all came around in the mid-2000s, many of them on the college circuit. I went to school in 2008, 2012, and a lot of these artists were performing at the local college spring concert or the fall concert. So Wale needs to understand that the reason he has fell off as far as his support is because people are sick of his complaining and his attitude. Now, he's come a long way. He's been a little bit more mature, especially since the birth of his daughter. He seemed to calm down and really, realize how he could be more of a mature adult. But at the same time, he is too emotional. Wale gets offended by any and everything that's on social media. He has to yell and scream, and sometimes it's not even yelling and screaming, it's just passive aggressive tweeting and posting on Instagram. And he's had issues even with Meek Mill, his label mate. And the point is, Wale needs to grow up, and he also needs to stop being delusional and figure out what he wants to be. He even admits himself today on Everyday Struggle that he's unpredictable. And the problem with that is when you're unpredictable, there's no level of consistency. And he started off this show by berating YouTube personality DJ Academics, calling him out for saying that people online call him corny. And the problem with Wale is he tried to paint it out that this was a hypothetical scenario. Hey, if we were in high school, Academics, I would be the cool kid who also did poetry, and you would be the kid that was insecure and checked for the latest fashion. Essentially saying Wale's trying to paint himself as cool and hip, and Academics is a follower, insecure, would only know what to wear by following trends. And this whole even beginning of his appearance on the show is immature, it's petty, and it's ridiculous. Because the problem with Wale is, with his unpredictable nature, we don't know what he's gonna be. He doesn't even know who he is. One minute he wants to be tough, I'm from the DMV, he wants to act like he's part of the streets. The next minute he's talking about how he was sheltered as a kid, and the whole being a poet and going beyond outside of the box is not what the cool kids do. They don't give those, poetic snaps and go to poetry lounges. So you can't be the cool, tough street kid one minute, and then you want to be the poetic kind of in the corner, stuck in your room, writing up artistic and very meaningful poetry on the other end. So that was what was ridiculous to me. The other big thing that really it's laughable is that Wale on this show, and even in general with the interviews and the comments he's had in the last couple of years, he tries to be too cool. So in this moment of him flopping, getting 25,000 first week, is a moment where he should be humble. Okay, just like Kendrick said, be humble. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. But at the same time, is when he's trying to, sway from apologizing and saying it was his fault, and understanding that he flopped, which he kind of semi-admitted on the show. He also wants to brag about all the stuff he has. So he flopped, but he's bragging about how he did features with Lady Gaga, he did features with Nicki Minaj and all these other people, and how he's cool and hip and he can do all this stuff, and he's making money for his family. Like, cool story, bro. But at the same time, you can't brag about stuff and then on the other hand, you're flopping. The number one thing that he messed up on, and this could easily be fact checked, and this is really what I want to talk about, because I know there's going to be a lot of videos, a lot of opinions and reactions on things he said, other things he said at his time here at the Complex Studios this Monday. He claims and he brags that he's selling out all these shows. Good for you, Wale. Good for you. Nice job. So let's look at this. He said he's selling in the Complex shoot or the video for today. He's talking about how he's selling out crowds of 1,400 people. Now, Wale's been in the game for about at least in the mixtape and the internet eyes for about 10 years now, and 1,400 people is nothing. My college, I went to Eastern Connecticut, and our college shows were about 1,400 to 1,500 people, that's where he started. But to be 10 years later and to be growing up with the Coles and Kendrick Lamars, that's nothing. So he sold out an LA show, which that was his big bragging point. So you sold out a club in LA. Good job, Wale. Let's give you a hand. LA is a huge market for concerts. They're throwing these joints everywhere. They got festivals. They got this club. They got that club. They got the Roxy. They got the Observatory in Santa Ana. There's all sorts of stuff and all sorts of events going on. And there's a huge market of fans, music fans, entertainment fans, people that want to be out and about. Of course you sold out LA. Then he bragged that his tour was sold out. So then I just went to go look, because I don't have time to fact check every single tour stop. But I looked at some of the major cities: New York, Irving Plaza, Chicago, and Houston. Those are pretty big cities as far as hip hop and as far as young people going out to shows and entertainment. All those shows are still have tickets available on Ticketmaster. So this whole claim that, I'm selling out shows, I'm selling out 1,400 people. Irving Plaza and the House of Blues that he's touring around for this like kind of Shine tour or whatever he's doing, these venues are no bigger than about 3,000 to 5,000 people at most. A lot of these venues are about 3,000. Still not sold out. So Wale, unless you can tell us or give us some more information about how these shows are sold out, but I can go on Ticketmaster and for 30 or 40 bucks get a general admission ticket, you're lying. Now maybe you sold out the LA show, but I looked, maybe it passed, or maybe it's through a smaller box office or ticket retailer. It's not on Ticketmaster. It's not on Live Nation. So it's probably just a very hole-in-the-wall club, which, hey, it's music. People want to go. Good for them. I hope you enjoy Wale's show. But for me, this is not acceptable. And the one thing he has to realize is, and I was just watching a little bit, shout out to DJ Academics, his responses on his Twitch stream. His peers, his freshman class, they're selling out 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, capacity, people, venues, as far as the capacity, stadiums, amphitheaters, things like that. Even the Chief Keefs and even some of these guys like, Kodak Black's in jail, but even some of the guys like Lil Yachty, they're getting bigger crowds than 1,400. Matter of fact, we just had the Rolling Loud Festival in Miami, and there's crowds of about 15,000 at each stage for Lil Uzi Vert, for the Migos, for Travis Scott, for Future. So he wasn't even invited to this kind of festival that had all the who's of rappers that have been around. Even Gucci Mane was there, and Gucci Mane, again, can be compared to Wale as far as when he's been in the game for a while now. So Wale's not even getting invited to those festivals that are trying to get more hip-hop acts in. So let me know what you guys think. If again, this is more of a hip hop based video. Sorry for all my rock fans and jam band fans that have probably seen some of the other videos shown. But if you're a hip hop fan, hip hop head, let me know what you think about Wale. I personally think he's delusional and he is crazy. Okay, and the point is he needs to grow up, take about accountability. The label and whatever Atlantic Records, whatever they did what they did, and maybe they could improve some stuff, but this falls on Wale. People want messages. That's why Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, even a Logic, they're doing over 200,000, if not going platinum after a couple weeks or a couple months, because people want a message. Wale used to deliver messages to people that they connected with, but not as many fans get his message. You got to convey a message. I don't care how lyrical you are, which he tried to explain on the show. I don't care what you did in the past with Nicki Minaj or Lady Gaga. Cool story, bro. But what are you doing right now to get fans to sell out these small venues? And what are you doing to get them to buy the album? Because people are selling. If you have a message, you sell. But Wale's message, clearly, it was selling, literally selling out record stores and digital places like iTunes and Amazon Music were getting sales higher for his previous projects. But for Shine, man, that thing did not shine. It got put in the recycling bin. Okay, 25,000 sales plus streaming, unacceptable. That's all I got on this topic. Thank you guys for watching. You guys have a good one.